Chapter 89, Genetic Miracles 1. To tell the truth, Zhu Tui had emptied 40 incubation chambers and pushed them to Research Hall number 5. Even though there were pulleys underneath the chambers, it was still physically taxing work. Zhu Tui had wanted to be more violent. However, he became exceptionally careful when he thought about the fact that the clone in the chamber might be his. It's just that this feeling felt extremely awkward. Would it be extremely terrifying if I were to stand beside 40 of myself later? An image flashed past Zhu Tui's mind. He could not help but shiver. After Zhu Tui moved the incubation chamber, and Zhao Xoxui managed to reconnect all of the nerves and blood vessels in her severed fingers. They were now at the finishing touches. Use the control panel over there to sanitize first. There's a hidden safe at the back of the control panel. Use your biological password to unlock it. Check through the special elixirs from number 1 to number 43 one by one. Tell me if the capacity of any elixir is less than 2 milliliters. And Zhao Xoxui continued to instruct Zhu Tui. These things were not difficult. They were done in no time. However, Zhu Tui was a little curious about what exactly was going on with his clone body. He glanced toward the incubation chamber from time to time. It had only been a month. Could the clone look exactly like him? Wasn't it too fast if that was the case? There's a liquid nitrogen storage box over there. Bring it over. Put it on the workbench after you're sanitized. All right. After he was done, Zhu Tui silently waited for Zhaoxu's instructions. This is my identity card. There is an eye-catching red button at the center of the tunnel leading to Institute 14. Use my identity card first, then press on it. Zhu Tui wanted to know the consequences of pressing the button, but he did not say anything. However, Zhao Xoxui took the initiative to explain. That is an emergency button for emergency situations. After the button was pressed, the entire Research Institute number 14 would enter a completely sealed-off state. Even the air would undergo an internal cycle and be oxygenated. You can say that even a nuclear attack would not be able to affect this area, and Zhao Xoxui explained. Zhu Tui got a shock. He became more curious when he heard how serious it was. Just what were they trying to do? Zhu Tui pressed on the red button and returned to the research hall. And Zhao Xoxui was receiving a call from the Military Security Department for verification. Vice Chairman An, does the Institute of Research number 14 need help? Is it in a state of disaster? Thank you. Everything is normal. There's no need. And Zhao Xoxui hung up the phone. Zhu Tui waited expectantly for Zhao Xoxui to get him to open the incubation chamber. However, Zhao Xoxui pointed to a chair and said, "Sit." Do you want to open the incubation chamber? Do you want to know what's in the liquid nitrogen box? Do you want to know what experiment you're going to do? And Zhao Xoxui asked 3 consecutive questions. Yes. Zhu Tui nodded honestly. And Zhao Xoxui nodded. I also want to complete these immediately. I am a little tired. However, there is a necessary procedure that I have to go through. The conversation we are about to have is very important. Every decision you make might affect your future. I hope that you will listen carefully and consider my words before giving me an answer. Because you can't take back your words once you give an answer. I understand. All right, first, let us explain the incubation chamber to you. There are 40 of your clones in this hall. Other than being able to act as a medical clone during emergencies, these 40 clones can perfectly solve the problem of your severed limbs. Furthermore, because it is a clone, it has no effect on your training or the genetic base points you have activated. Of course, a person would have to create a new clone body if their abilities had been greatly enhanced or if their genes had mutated. You can regard it as a medical backup, and Zhao Xoxui suggested. I understand. At that instant, Zhu Tui could not help but think about Deng Wei. Deng Wei's knee joint had become useless because of the pearl powder. However, in order to not affect the activation of his genetic base points, Deng Wei did not switch to an artificial knee joint. If the same thing happened to Zhu Tui, he could perfectly solve the problem by performing a knee transplant. That was where the problem was. Why did the school's emergency center not provide Deng Wei with this medical plan? Why didn't they nurture a medical clone and perform a knee transplant on Deng Wei? and Zhao Soxui seemed to be able to read Zhu Tui's thoughts. That's not feasible. Is it extremely expensive? The cost of nurturing a cloned body is not large. It would only cost a few $1,000s a month. But the key was, the price for the entire set of cloning equipment and technology are astronomical. In reality, they would not be able to purchase such a sophisticated cloning device even if they had the money. There were not more than 10 cloning devices of this level in the world. There are a total of 4 sets in the Wuxia sector, 2 in the Wuxia sector, and one of them is with us, and Zhao Soxui explained. Zhu Tui was shocked when he heard this. There were only 10 sets in the world, 2 in the Wuxia sector, and 1 here. That was simply too much. Was the Research Institute number 14 that great? Don't be suspicious, and don't be surprised. This is something that the founder of the Research Institute number 14 exchanged for with a price that is several times the price of this set of equipment. You can basically say that the treatment you will receive is unique to the entire Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. Also, the treatment you are going to receive is extremely rare and precious in the entire Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, even the Blue Star.